I do think that really defined my faith at the time. I am going to get discovered. I will. I am so persistent. There's no way that I will not.
As the calendar shifts to November, happy Turkey Month, everybody, and welcome back for another edition of Ball State Sports Links Driven, presented by Stoops Automotive. Stoops, driven to be the best. I'm your host, Connor Onion. On this month of Driven, as in every month, we take a look at the best stories in Ball State sports. Last month, we gave you a little sneak peek into the musical talents of Ball State soccer player Lauren Hall. This month, we have the full version for you called Finding Her Pitch, produced by Alex Seitz.
Where will she end up? I know that if there's anybody who could get there, it would be her. At 5 years old, she started piano, and then she took it up till good 6th grade, and by about 6th grade is when she started finding her voice.
First time singing in front of people is very, very scary. I started to actually get over my stage fright and singing in 7th grade. I was a star of the school musical, and it was the greatest thing in my life. After I had opening night and I performed, I knew that was the best feeling in the world. Nothing felt better than being on stage and singing for other people and making them happy. Now, I don't really get nervous until like 30 seconds before the performance. I think I'm able to hide my nervousness really well, and the second the first note comes out well, I'm good.
After a semester of college, Lauren's comfort level on the pitch did not match her comfort on stage, prompting a move from Arkansas to Muncie, Indiana.
Everything just feels right when I'm here. I feel like I'm in the right place. And right away, everybody just made me sing, because Craig told everybody I could sing.
Lauren was having some difficulties at Arkansas. Perhaps they weren't recognizing some of the talents that she has. And so when we did have her come in and she walked with us, around Ball State, and we got to exchange, a lot of extensive conversations. I talked about what they like to do off the field, and she shared with me kind of her passion for singing.
Walk that mile. It's kind of been my little outlet. I go to a practice room in between classes and just sing, do whatever I want, get it all out.
Lauren's relief of stress through music quickly became a talent, motivating her to expand her horizons to a national stage.
American Idol was my first TV show audition. It was not what you expected, it never really is, and that's when I first learned audition processes are not what you see on TV. Dealing with the no's has become a lot easier because I've realized that everybody has their own opinions.
There's a lot of ups, downs, peaks, valleys, and disappointments along the way. There's certainly tears.
Turned away by American Idol, Lauren channeled her inner strength.
Persistence also, perseverance. It's just traits that I've gained throughout soccer and music that have kind of just gone together, so kind of just makes me who I am. I kind of strayed away from American Idol and their auditions, and then I went to go to The Voice. And that's when I started getting more feedback. They asked me to come back another time. I called it an accomplishment. It's difficult because there's so many naysayers, and there's so many people that are like, you need to be realistic with your life. Some way, somehow, I am going to get discovered. I will. I am so persistent. There's no way that I will not.
I always thought she was really good, but when she gets on stage, it's kind of like a little bit of a gift, and she just shines when she's on stage.
If you are in front of the right people at the right time, you can get picked up like that.
Where will she end up? I know that if there's anybody who could get there, it would be her.
Overwhelming gratitude from Lauren after the final product of her story. She made it extremely easy, as well as the cooperation of her mom, Karen, and head soccer coach, Craig Roberts. Lauren, thank you for allowing us to tell your story. The soccer season did end, unfortunately, in disappointing fashion in the Mid-American Conference semifinals against Buffalo in overtime, but the end of one season leads to the beginning of another, which means it's winter sports time, which means men's swimming and diving. J.D. Middleton, a sophomore here at Ball State, he competed in high school but was the lone swimmer on his high school swimming team. Upon coming to Ball State, he's found his swimming family. Andy Wright and Tim Rushi preview J.D.'s story.
I was the lone swimmer at my school. I was just all alone doing my own thing. I didn't have my own team or anything like that, like a normal high school. So it was kind of lonely, and I didn't have much of a team. Patch of always being down on myself, and I actually almost quit the sport of swimming before I came here just because I was alone and I didn't have that team aspect. So, I mean, after years of trying to motivate myself, I was really tired of that. But once I talked to coach and everything and I came here, I knew that I wanted to keep swimming. He told me to come in, and we set up a time for me to come for a recruiting visit, which is where you come in and you meet the team and get a feel for the campus.
He didn't let anything put him down. He would come to all the practices, he'd be at the meets, and he would swim, and just the fact that he was just an exhibition swimmer and it didn't count for anything, he still worked really hard, and I was just really impressed by his dedication, always being at the meets and stuff.
I love swimming because I love pushing myself. I love representing a school or my team. It's something that's more than just me. It's a sense of accomplishment from swimming.
J.D. competes in the freestyle, and some of his best work came a season ago in the Mid-American Conference Championships in the 200-meter and 500-meter events. The dietetics major enters his sophomore season with that full story to come at a later date. With our next story, we stay in the pool with another freestyler. That's Ball State swimmer Cole Smith. For Cole, as a 50-meter freestyler, a lot of times it's a race against the clock. We dive into his pre-race mentality with the second installation of I Play For You, produced by Zach McClusack and J.C. Obringer.
Swimming. A sport that is unique from all others. It does not take place on a field or a court or with a ball. But takes place in the water. It is measured by time, not by goals or points, but fractions of seconds. It's not just a race against others. is a race against the clock. A relentless push to reach the wall. As the water lies still, as my opponents sleep, my mind is churning. As I lose myself in the beat, that I take place on the block. Speed and power are vital. My mind calms.
I'm Cole Smith, and I play for you.
Cole and his Ball State teammates competed in the Doug Coors Invitational. It was the 11th annual Invitational hosted here at Ball State. Ball State did fall to Grand Valley State in the meet as a team, but as you can see here on the graphic, Cole had quite a performance. First place in the 50 free, where he was only half a second off of his all-time best. Also first in the 400 relay, and second and third place in a couple other very successful relays. Speaking of success, time is short for Ball State running back Jawan Edwards, as he spent 4 seasons in the Ball State football program, being one of 2 running backs to rush for 1,000 yards in 3 different seasons. Jawan's story, entitled The Journey of the Quake, is produced by Drew Adamson and Tori Fox.
Quake is just trying to stay alive. Because once football gone, Quake is gone. I'm just trying to keep Quake alive.
It's been a great ride for Jawan Edwards, as multiple records have fallen in his time as Ball State's running back, as he was thrust into the lineup as just a true freshman. But speaking of record-breaking performances, Sean Sellers, freshman basketball player here under Coach Whitford, wasted no time in etching his name into the record books. 26 points in his debut against Utah, the most ever in a debut by any Ball State basketball player in school history. He leads a very talented class, recruited by none other than head basketball coach James Whitford. We hear how the players feel about their head coach in this Out of the Shadows Extra.
It was just a big decision for me to pick Ball State, but I really chose it because Coach Whitford, I love his mentality. He loves to win, and I love to win. I don't like to lose like him, and he's pretty intense about this year and like the people he brought in with me, that we're gonna actually make a big impact in the MAC.
Coach Whitford seemed like a straight shooter. He wasn't gonna tell you something that he thought you just wanted to hear. He told you what you needed to hear.
You got ding, Sean!
Coach Whit and I relationship is really close. We talk almost every day, and we just talk about life, not even just basketball.
We had practice one time, and Coach wasn't there. He was on a recruiting trip, so it's really different when he's not there. Like when he's there, things are snappy, snappy, snappy. When he's not, some people get lazy. Some people start to, they won't go as hard. But when he's there, like he has all of our attention, and like if we don't cooperate, then we know we have a consequence coming. It makes us better. It makes us think like, well, since he's gone, we need to still like have that same mentality. Like if Coach was here, we need to still be going 100% game speed and all that.
Jeremy Tyler and Sean Sellers, just a couple of the new faces in this Ball State basketball program. 8 new players joined the program this season, including 5 in the freshman class. That freshman class in high school, their senior season combined for a 105-15 record. That included 3 state champions in Francis Kiapaway, a prep school national runner-up. So Coach Whitford, he's got a pretty good thing going with the youth movement here in the Ball State men's basketball program. But the full version of Out of the Shadows, Episode 2 of Season 2, can be seen on Fox College Sports as well as on ballstatesports.com. Now for Ball State volleyball player Katie Vasquez, she spent many seasons as an athlete. Just down the road at Yorktown High School as a Tiger here from Muncie, Indiana. She was an all-state tennis player, also won a state championship in volleyball, and in following her passion for volleyball through college, there were some bumps along the way. Another meaning to bump just outside of volleyball was apparent as well. Here's her story entitled Battle Scar, produced by Luke Martin, Brad Daly, Chris Kozinski, and Zach McClusack.
It's been a journey that, it seems like it's been a long time ago. Every time you see the scar on her face, it kind of remind her, that what's real important in life.
Scars are a reminder of our past. They are also the sign of strength.
When I was playing volleyball at Yorktown in 8th grade, I had mentioned that this bump was there. I didn't know what it was. I don't remember getting bit by a bug or anything like that.
You wouldn't have really noticed it unless she showed it to you. So I took her into the doctor and he said it didn't look like anything more than maybe a clogged saliva gland or maybe a spider bite or whatever. So let's watch it for a little bit.
14-year-old, you think you're invincible. You don't think anything's going to happen to you. So very nonchalant, let's just get the bump check, see what it is, and move on.
For about 6 weeks to 2 months, we watched it, and it grew pretty quick. So we got her back in, and they still didn't think it was anything. Did a biopsy, said we didn't think there's a problem. We'll just watch it. Well, after the biopsy was done, it really grew.
Following an outpatient surgery at Ball Memorial Hospital, Katie's bump was in fact a benign tumor.
I remember the specific day. I was coming home from practice with my mom, and she had picked me up, and a couple days before that we had been told that it was not a cancerous tumor, it was a benign tumor, just get it removed and we'll be fine. And then she got in the car and she was like, Katie, I have something to tell you. The second test came back that your tumor was cancerous.
Actinic cell carcinoma is a slow-growing tumor and is a cancer that accounts for less than 1% of all cancers in the United States. Due to the rarity of Katie's cancer, Shelley and Tim took her to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota.
I missed about 8 to 9 weeks of school and having to live in a hotel for a couple weeks.
Following the surgery on February 13, 2008, doctors noticed something wrong about the placement of Katie's tumor.
They had found that the margins of my tumor had been wrapped around my your main nerve in your face. And this main nerve has branches off of it, so they ended up having to snip off one of the branches of my nerve. All that messing with the nerve and the removal of my parotid gland had caused paralysis on the right side of my face. And the doctor had come in and said that he wasn't sure if I was going to get that back. It would just depend on time. I had paralysis for about a couple months and it ended up coming back.
When Katie returned home, she never expected the extent of support she received.
The Muncie team was definitely my biggest support system at the time. When I went to practice, they took me out in the hallway and everybody distributed the shirts, and I was kind of looking around trying to figure out why this was like a big deal. And then I left and went home. I was like, Mom, we got cool shirts today. And she was like, Katie, they made those shirts for you. That was just like the epitome of how the whole thing was for me. It was hard for me to completely understand what people were doing for me, because I didn't want people to feel that they had to put all this effort and energy to me, into me. Just the whole, I didn't want to put this on my parents. I didn't want to put it on anyone else.
This past spring, 6 years later, Katie started noticing a change in her body again.
I had felt behind my ear, and there is a tiny bump that's still there, which was a huge red flag. We got an MRI and sent it to Mayo Clinic where I had my surgery. That was a stressful time. I talked to Kelly Miller, who had experienced heart issues while she was in college and playing volleyball, so we had a heart-to-heart.
I have aortic stenosis. The main valve that pumps blood to the rest of your body is narrowed and thickened, so it has to work a lot harder. My heart has to pump a lot harder in order to just get blood to the rest of my body as normal.
She has this passion for the game, and she knows she has a purpose because she overcame something so large, something that I feel like I can relate to her on another level. And then just having her as a coach, everything that I hear from her, that I can take from her, is just another thing to get me through, to try to be the best that I can be.
For her to be so mature about it, for her to be so strong about it, and I think that gave everybody else confidence, and that gave everybody else strength, and that's 100% what I then tried to mimic as well this spring is, you know, it's easy to be scared about something, you know, these are big deals, but you have to have faith. You have to have just your strength with your family, with your friends, with people around you.
Scars are a reminder of our past. And for Katie Vasilakis, this is no ordinary scar.
We've asked her about the scar. She could have that plastic surgery done. She says, no, that's my battle scar. She's thankful she's gone through it. And we look at her now and we think, we are thankful we had the moment, because it does put things in perspective for us.
Rely on your faith and stay strong through all of that, because in those times you have no control over what's going on with you. All you can do is just have the hope. I know that there's a reason why I overcame this and why others had a tougher experience or who didn't make it through. And so I see this as I have a purpose, and if I have the ability to play, I have to play harder than anybody else, because I have to play for those who don't get to play.
Really touching story there from Katie Vasilakis, as told by Luke Martin, Chris Kozinski, Brad Daly, and Zach McClusack. Really makes you appreciate the little things in life. Katie, on the court though, amazing as it may be that she's still playing volleyball, was really solid defensively this season, led Ball State in digs per set. So Katie still managing to be successful on the hardwood for Steve Shondell. Unfortunately for the Ball State Cardinals, they just can't seem to figure out that Western Michigan Broncos bunch in the Mid-American Conference Tournament. They lost 3-1 in the second round of the tournament earlier on in the month. The good news, however, zero seniors on that Ball State team. So Steve Shondell returns a young team, an experienced team, to Muncie next season. It's been a really fun show. Got to tell the story of Lauren Hall and her musical talents, as well as two swimmers with J.D. Middleton and Cole Smith. Also, Juwan Edwards' story. It's coming soon as we take a look inside the journey of the Quake, and the one you just saw with Katie Vasilakis. That'll do it for this month's episode of Driven. We return next month, as don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at BSU SportsLink and on Facebook.com/Ball State SportsLink. A few thank yous to give out. First to our executive producers, J.C. Obringer and Luke Martin. For our faculty advisors, Chris Taylor, Brad Daly, and Alex Cartman. I'm Connor Onion, your host, saying so long until next month, and thanks for watching Ball State SportsLink's Driven, presented by Stoops Automotive.